All right, y'all. So let's get into our second topic. And let's entertain this foolishness because Kevin Feige really thinks that we out here we just dumb as hell, gonna believe this sorry ass excuse that he's given in regards of why Captain America Brave New World flopped. Well, it didn't flop, it underperformed. We'll say that. I don't think Marvel movies necessarily flop. They just don't do really well. To the standards of, because they all make money. Now, Kevin Feige took time out of his day of delivering nothing burgers on the future of the MCU by placing the blame on Captain America's Brave New World's failure on Anthony Mackie. Now, Captain America Brave New World underperforming at the box office has been addressed by the MCU's boss. Anthony Mackie Sam Wilson went on a journey to become the lead of the new Captain America movies in both Avengers Endgame and Disney Plus Falcon and Winter Soldier that led to the first of the MCU's 2025 movies. I actually thought that we should have had Falcon and Winter Soldier in Brave New World, in my opinion. That's why I actually wanted to. He has one little scene where they talk, but no, you should have had him throughout the film. We like that dynamic between them. I like Danny Ramirez, but it's always Falcon Winter Soldier to me, the originals. However, despite Sam's long journey, the addition of Hulk-related characters like the Leader and Harrison Ford's Red Hulk and more, Captain America Brave New World finished its global box office run with $415.1 million via Box Office Mojo on a $180 million production budget, far below Chris Evans' Captain America the Winter Soldier, $714.1 million, and Civil War's $1.15 billion. Now, during a conversation about the MCU's future with members of the press, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, and this is where I was telling you, he would basically deliver a bunch of damn nothing burgers in that whole situation. And I talked about it before, like the overall disrespect and unlitigated gall that he had to even try to talk mess about Jonathan Majors. You couldn't even mention his name like he was freaking Candyman of Voldemort. Like you couldn't say his name. In the whole conversation and try to say, well, we had planned to not use Kang long before the whole situation happened. I called BS on that because number one, you had no plans on doing a Kang situation. You had a whole film coming out called Kang Dynasty before y'all decided to change it up with the Avengers situation. So this is what happens when y'all start trying to put the cart before the horse and y'all have a whole list, 7-year, 10-year plan of all these little list of movies that you're going to have coming out, and y'all give them titles, you pick release dates, and nothing's done, no script is done, you have no storyboards, nothing's ready, and then when you get closer to that, oh, we got to move things around, or we got to shift this, and we're still waiting on a damn Blade movie. So here they go with all this foolishness, and he think we got short-term memory. But thank God for the internet, because the internet keeps receipts. And Kevin Feige said the thing that because he forgot, or he could sit up there and feed us a bunch of BS, that we're not going to pull them receipts out and be like, sir, this is what you said around this time at this date. Explain. Now, as I was saying about what he said about to members of the press, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige via Deadline claimed that Captain America Brave New World's disappointing box office performance was because it was the first without Chris Evans. The Steve Rogers actor famously left the role behind in Avengers Endgame when older Steve gave Sam Wilson the shield. Well, the rumor is, or isn't not even a rumor anymore, that Chris Evans is going to be in the new Avengers Doomsday. But they haven't really revealed if he's coming back as Cap, because remember, Cap is old, although I guess you could pull one from a multiverse. I don't know like I said, we don't really know what kind of story they're planning on telling with Doomsday, but we have heard some stories, right, that he is going to be in Doomsday. So they said that Avengers Endgame saw key characters like Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow leave the MCU. Marvel Studios has since tried to develop their successors, with Sam Wilson leading a TV show and a movie, while Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova was recently the star of Thunderbolts, which also underperformed, and Riri Williams' Ironheart series finally arrived on Disney Plus, which also underperformed. Now, with Kevin Feige claiming the reason Captain America Brave New World was not a hit is due to how it was the first Captain America movie without Chris Evans, the message for future MCU movies seems clear. Perhaps legacy heroes might not be the way to go for Marvel. Replacing Evans was always going to be a tall order. Well, I don't know if I agree with what he said because here you have Robert Downey Jr., who's no longer Iron Man, coming in as a whole new character, which I guess some people are excited because it's Robert Downey Jr. and they're like, oh, but he'll save the MCU. Because then I'm thinking that's probably what Kevin Feige was thinking about when he brought in Robert Downey Jr. However, like I said many a times before, I'm not 110% sold on him delivering as Dr. Doom because he's been so prominent playing this Iron Man character, and us looking at that as like, no, I don't see it. So I don't know if this casting is all that great. But I'm not the only one that called BS out on what he had to say. Bo DeMayo, we love us some Bo DeMayo over here. Who used to work at the for the MCU and did X-Men 97, all that other stuff. Fine ass Bo DeMayo had this to say. Because when Screen Rant, which is where I got this article where I got this article from, it was saying during conversation about the MCU's future with members of the press, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige claimed that Captain America: Brave New World's disappointing box office was because it was the first without Chris Evans. And Bo says, or instead of blaming it on the black actor, how about the script sucked, the story was phoned in, and you barely promoted it? So also, let's not forget, they spoiled the Red Hulk surprise long before the movie dropped. Like, that's in your third act. Why would you even reveal the Red Hulk situation? You should have led up to let the fans want to go see it. We saw it all in the trailer because you didn't believe in the film. So let's sell Red Hulk. Secondly, the Hulk wasn't even a part of Sam Wilson's situation. So why are we making a Hulk sequel with a character who has no parts in that whole situation? Make that make sense. They also, I felt like, showed too much of the movie in trailers. Captain America, I feel like the last Captain, they were saying like, the last Captain America movie was Civil War. How many Avengers appeared in Brave New World? Bucky Barnes didn't do anything, and the script was not that great. So I agree with that. And I don't like the idea of him necessarily come out and say, well, not necessarily, he did. I don't like the fact of him coming out and blaming the actor and the fans for not accepting the actor. And we love Sam Wilson. First of all, Anthony Mackie eats when it comes to acting. He can act circles around all of your faves. And he even came out recently was talking about that he is this guy, like he is the go-to where he's put a lot of other actors on the map, like Jeremy Renner and so many others, because and Ryan Gosling. He's co-starred alongside a lot of amazing, fellow actors. They've all got Emmy nominations and not him. So he called it out. He was like, oh yeah, I'm the one that's guaranteed to get all these other people Emmy or Oscar nominations, whatever. Bryan Cranston, who played I think Winston Churchill, got a nomination. Anthony Mackie played Martin Luther King, didn't get anything. He also starred alongside Ryan Gosling in Half Nelson, which is what my friend DJ Baker was also in that movie. Hence that story I told y'all about him and Anthony Mackie many times over in the story where he brought up brother to brother, and Anthony didn't like that a little too much because that was a movie he played a homosexual in. So I guess he felt like my friend was trying to be a little shady. Maybe he was. I can't speak for him, but Anthony wasn't liking that too much. And then yeah, so it was like him, Ryan Gosling, and then Jeremy Renner because they were in the Hurt Locker. And it's like, yeah, toot your own horn because it's like there's been many movies that I should have been nominated for. And we all know that Anthony Mackie is a phenomenal actor. Give him something to do. You didn't give him anything to do. You wasted him. So we're not going to sit up here and be like, well, Chris Evans wasn't in it. That's why we didn't go see it. If you actually made an interesting and compelling scripted film, I think we would have went out and supported it. If you would have given us an idea what the hell it was that you were trying to make. You didn't center it around Sam Wilson. You put Sam Wilson in someone else's story. Like the Hulk, Red Hulk, all of that. That was from who was the Incredible Hulk around that one? Was that Eric Bana or was it the other one? Edward Norton. I can't remember which one that Liv Tyler was in. But it was one of those. So they also said that I also felt like it would have been a much better movie if they brought in Bucky Barnes as a proper sidekick to Sam. And don't get me wrong, Falcon and Winter Soldier I thought was okay. In my opinion, I didn't think that it was just like the best series, but it was watchable. It could have been better in some spots, but it had the potential. And I think that it would have worked better on the big screen if we had that dynamic between Falcon and Winter Soldier. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Danny Ramirez, who, sidebar, I don't know if y'all heard, he's apparently dating Jessica Alba, because I seen them pictures of them making out. So yeah, Danny Ramirez out here hunching that old lady with all them dead. Well, I hope you like baggage, sir, because you 31 years old, she 40 something years old with 3 kids, and and in the process of a divorce. So if you like all that baggage, hope you pack light. Anyway, so um as for Danny Ramirez, because I wanted a side tangent about the tabloid stuff, his dynamic with Sam and the way his character was written, and in my opinion, it just didn't work for me. Like him making him the new Falcon, it just wasn't working. And let's not forget, I wanted more of Carl Lumbly's Isaiah Bradley. I thought he was a great addition to the movie. Seeing like this older guy that had all these he was like, was he yeah, once upon a time I'm trying to remember the movie because I only saw it once. He was, I think, a prior Captain America before Captain America was Captain America, something or another. So um he had superpowers. I would like to see more Carl Lumbly. Like, oh, and another thing, I will say this. Shout out to Robert Meyer Burnett because he wound up saying this the other day, and I was like, that is perfect. So he hit the nail on the head when he basically said, if they would have made Brave New World, basically like because with the MCU, they pretty much will give you different types of genres within a movie. Like when you look at the Multiverse of Madness, it's like a supernatural horror film. When you look at Captain America: Winter Soldier, it's more like it's like a spy espionage like type thriller. Like it's got Hunting for Red October, little James Bond, that whole vibe. If they would have made this sort of like the lethal weapon of the franchise, I really feel like that would have been great because I was like, oh my God, I love, even though let's not get into the whole politics of Mel Gibson, but if they would have made this like the MCU's equivalent of lethal weapon and made, you have your Riggs and Murtaugh, which would be Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then you have Carl Lumbly's character, Isaiah, he could be the Joe Pesci. So if they would have did something like that, I think it would have much better tonally. It would have been a much better movie. But look, they decided what they decided. Kevin Feige, you need to lie on the sword on the decision that you made regarding that movie and not sit up here and blame Anthony Mackie, because that's pretty much what you did, and us for not getting what it was that you did. I just felt like there was some things y'all could have touched on thematically, but y'all were too scared. At least, unlike y'all, Superman at least had something, with their political stuff that's in this new movie. At least they stood on, at least they stood on business in whatever it was they were saying. You apparently did not. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Kevin Feige had to say about Captain America: Brave New World, why it failed at the box office? I don't think it has anything to do with Chris Evans because eventually down the road, you're going to have to replace your Captain America. You can't depend on Chris Evans to come back to help you guys make money at the box office. You're going to have to find a new actor to come in and play this role. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Glenn Powell because Captain America don't necessarily have powers. I mean, he took a serum and he has super strength and speed and agility and things, but he is still grounded in a human and can get old ish. So let me know what you guys think. Because look, when we see Winter Soldier's like 100 some years old and still look good, right? But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.